Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner has made it clear that his top priority is protecting the city's criminals rather than its law-abiding citizens. That's bad enough in the abstract, but it's easy to forget that this policy has real victims. It has destroyed the lives of real people. Michael White stabbed Sean Schellenger to death, allegedly after gloating online that he was about to, quote, cut someone. Despite that, and there's no dispute about it, he did it, Krasner would not even charge White with homicide. The case was weakened by that so badly that White, in the end, wound up with just probation. Now, last week, Philadelphia's Chestnut Hill College invited both Krasner and White to its, quote, Transforming Justice Conference. White was used as an example, a standout example of criminal justice reform. Linda Schellenger is the mother of the murdered man, Sean Schellenger. She recently spoke with us about all of this. I'm sorry about this, and I can't imagine what it must be like for you to see the man who murdered your son held up as a hero. What is it like?
Outrageous. That's the word that comes to mind. It is really outrageous. They're parading this person around as an example of criminal justice reform. It is appalling to me that they would do such a thing. Obviously not understandable. Went to a conference on Friday for criminal justice. Larry Krasner was speaking. My intention was to see what Larry had to say, have an open mind about these things. And to my surprise, when I got there, Michael White, my son's killer, was on the agenda to speak on a panel. Outrageous.
It's hard to understand. It is outrageous, but it's also confusing. What was the point of this? Why would college administrators allow this to happen?
You know, I am not certain that the college was actually aware of what was happening. At least what they presented to me was that they were not aware that Michael White was who he was and that he was put on this panel. He did not end up actually speaking because at the 11th hour, they decided to change that agenda up and put two gentlemen who had been in prison for a very long time and had apparently not committed the murders that they were accused of many, many years ago. Right. Obviously, two people that, you know, would warrant speaking on a panel like that, rather than putting someone like Michael White up to make a mockery of the criminal justice reform that would be going on. I completely can't understand it except a political agenda by Larry Krasner and the defense attorney, Keir Bradford Gray. It's
so just for our viewers who aren't familiar, this is your second time on our show. We're happy to have you back. For our viewers who aren't familiar with the backstory, this murder took place in public. The man who stabbed your son to death, and they'd never met before, who stabbed him to death, later wrote a rap song about it. I mean, there's no question that he did it. So given that, what would you say to Larry Krasner, who's bragging about in effect, getting this guy off for your son's murder? What would you say to him?
I would say you are an evil and very sick man. I mean, it literally rises to that level. This is not just a disagreement around prosecutors' strategy or something like that. I think I had mentioned to you before, I believe that he obstructed justice, and that's exactly what happened. There's zero question that Michael plunged a knife into my son's back with eyewitnesses surrounding him on a lovely evening in July. None. Zero. So this was theater at its best. This was completely orchestrated by Larry Krasner right from the beginning, and it continues to be astounding. I mean, this panel discussion that they were going to put this person on, if I can even call him a person, he's a murderer, is, again, I keep using the word outrageous because it is so beyond my understanding of anything that makes any good, common, logical sense.
Right. So they can stab your son to death in the middle of Rittenhouse Square and then, in effect, mock him and you in public. That's what Larry Krasner is doing. I hope that you get justice in this case. I really do, and I hope you'll come back and tell us about it. Thank you for joining us and for that update. I appreciate it.
Thank you.